The chocolate cake I'd picked up from my favorite bakery slipped from my fingers and crashed onto our hardwood floor. Chocolate frosting splattered across my new white heels, but I barely noticed. My eyes were fixed on the trail of discarded clothes leading up the stairs of our suburban home. A man's blue tie, the one I'd given Mike for Christmas. A woman's red blouse, one I'd complimented Becky on just last week at the office. "Mike, are you home early?" I called out, my voice shaking. No answer, but I heard hushed whispers and sudden movement upstairs. "My name is Anita Schwenk. At 32, I'd built what I thought was a perfect life. A successful career as a digital marketing manager at TechVision, a beautiful home in Connecticut, and 5 years of marriage to my college sweetheart, Michael Schwenk. Today was supposed to be special. It was my birthday, and I'd left work early to surprise Mike with dinner reservations at the upscale restaurant where he'd proposed. Instead, I got the surprise. I kicked off my heels and moved silently up the stairs, each step bringing me closer to the sounds coming from our bedroom. The door was ajar, and through the crack, I saw them scrambling to get dressed. My husband of 5 years and Rebecca Wilson, my colleague, my confidant, the woman who'd helped plan my bridal shower. "You said she was working late," Becky hissed, yanking on her skirt. "She always works late on Thursdays," Mike replied, buttoning his shirt with shaking hands. I pushed the door open. They froze, staring at me with matching expressions of horror. "Jessica." Mike's face drained of color. "This isn't. I can mean we were just. Save it." My voice was eerily calm, even to my own ears. I pulled out my phone and took a picture of them. The flash made them both flinch. "What are you doing?" Becky asked, trying to cover herself with our throw blanket, the one my mother had crocheted for our wedding gift. "Getting evidence," I replied, taking another photo. "Please continue. Don't let me interrupt whatever excuse you were about to make up." Mike stepped toward me, pants still unbuckled. "Live, baby, it's not what you think." "Not what I think." I laughed, the sound sharp and hollow. "So you're not half naked in our bed with my friend? On my birthday? Please enlighten me on what I'm misunderstanding here." Becky was crying now, mascara streaming down her face. "Jessica, I'm so sorry. We never meant to hurt you. Yet here we are." I backed out of the doorway. "I suggest you both get dressed and get out. I need to disinfect everything you've touched." I didn't wait for their response. I turned and walked out, down the stairs and out the front door. Behind me, I heard Mike calling my name, but I got into my car and drove away. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. Tears streamed down my face, but I couldn't feel them. I'd trusted them both completely. Mike and I had talked about starting a family next year. We'd even picked out names: Sophia for a girl, Ethan for a boy. And Becky, she'd been the shoulder I cried on whenever Mike and I had problems. All those late-night conversations over wine. All her sympathetic nods and advice. While she was sleeping with my husband. My phone buzzed with texts and calls from both of them, but I silenced it and kept driving. I ended up at Harborview Park, our town's quiet waterfront spot. Sitting on a bench overlooking the water, I finally let myself break down completely. "Are you okay?" A gentle voice startled me. An elderly woman had sat down at the other end of the bench, concern etched on her kind face. "No," I admitted, wiping futilely at my tears. "Not really." She offered me a tissue from her purse. "Whatever it is, this too shall pass. I'm 82 years old, dear. I've lived through things I never thought I'd survive. But here I am, still watching the sunset." I thanked her for the tissue. She patted my hand and left me to my thoughts. But her words echoed in my mind. "This too shall pass. But how? How do you move past the ultimate betrayal by the two people you trusted most?" After an hour of sobbing, something shifted inside me. The crushing pain gave way to icy clarity. I'd given everything to my marriage, compromised my career for Mike's, postponed my dreams of starting my own agency. For what? To be betrayed in the most cliched way possible? I unlocked my phone and scrolled through my contacts until I found who I was looking for: Diana Mercer, our company's brilliant IT specialist who owed me a favor after I helped her land the promotion she'd wanted. "Diana? It's Jessica. I need your help with something," I said, my voice steady now. How difficult would it be to hijack a scheduled Zoom meeting? Hijack a whoa, what's going on? Diana asked. Mike has been cheating on me. With Becky. I caught them together an hour ago. What? Diana's voice rose an octave. That lying cheating. Wait, Becky from our marketing team? Your friend Becky. The very same. I confirmed, the bitterness clear in my voice. There was a pause. Okay, what exactly do you want to do to his Zoom meeting, and when do we start? What Mike and Becky didn't know was that I'd already started planning how to make sure their betrayal wouldn't stay private. The quarterly financial presentation Mike was scheduled to lead next week for his biggest clients would become the stage for a very different kind of revelation. I spent the next 3 days in the Meadowbrook Inn on the outskirts of town. I needed space to think, to plan, to breathe. Mike bombarded me with calls and texts. First angry, demanding to know where I was, then pleading, swearing it was just a mistake, and not what it looked like. Please come home, his latest text read. We can work through this. I love you. Love. The word made me nauseous now. What kind of love betrays you so casually? What kind of love lies to your face day after day? Becky tried a different approach. Liv, please talk to me. It was a terrible lapse in judgment. Mike and I never meant for it to happen. You're my best friend, and I would never intentionally hurt you. The hypocrisy was staggering. I had dozens of photos in front of me proving this wasn't a one-time lapse in judgment. I didn't respond to either of them. Instead, I met with Diana at a coffee shop downtown. She slid into the booth across from me, her purple-streaked hair tucked under a beanie. You look terrible, she said bluntly, pushing a large coffee toward me. Thanks. I managed a weak smile. Did you bring what I asked for? Diana nodded, glancing around before pulling out a small USB drive. It wasn't easy, but this will let you take control of any meeting Mike hosts on his company account. But Jessica, are you sure about this? It's technically against. Did you know they've been seeing each other for 8 months? I cut her off, my voice cracking slightly. While I was working overtime on the Maxwell campaign, missing dinners, feeling guilty about not being home enough, they were together in my bed. Diana's eyes widened. How did you find that out? I pulled out my phone and showed her the screenshots. After fleeing our house, I'd logged into Mike's cloud account. We'd always shared passwords, another sign of how much I'd trusted him. His photo backup held dozens of pictures of them together. Dinners, hotel rooms, even a weekend trip to Vermont when Mike had told me he was at a financial conference. That son of a... Diana stopped herself. Okay, I'm fully on board now. What exactly are you planning? I told her about Mike's upcoming presentation to Cooper and Braithwaite Financial Partners, his biggest client. Executives from across the country would be attending virtually. It was a make-or-break meeting for Mike's career. I want to take over the meeting briefly, I explained. Just long enough to share some selected photos and text messages with his colleagues and clients. Diana whistled low. That's nuclear, Jessica. His career would never recover. And my marriage will. I took a shaky breath. Becky has already started telling people at work that I'm overreacting to a one-time mistake. Mike's parents called me, saying I should come home and work things out. They're controlling the narrative. I stared down at my coffee. I gave up a promotion opportunity in New York for him 3 years ago. I've scaled back my career goals to support his. I've been the understanding wife while he worked late with clients. No more. Diana nodded slowly. I get it. But make sure this is really what you want. Once you push this button, there's no going back. I know, I said. But they've left me no choice. That night in my hotel room, I started gathering evidence. Texts between Mike and me showing him lying about his whereabouts. Bank statements showing hotel charges and gifts for Becky. And finally, the photos and messages between them that I'd recovered from his cloud. I found one text from Mike to Becky that made my blood boil. Jessica thinks I'm stuck at the office again. Want to come over? She won't be home until late. And Becky's response. On my way. Bring out the good wine she's been saving for her birthday. Face blowing a kiss. They'd been drinking the expensive Cabernet my sister had sent from Napa, a special gift I'd been saving. I checked the date of the text. 3 weeks ago. while I was working late on a project that could have advanced my career. My phone rang. It was Lisa, another colleague from work. Jessica? Are you okay? Becky's telling everyone you two had some misunderstanding. That you caught her helping Mike plan a surprise party for you or something. My blood boiled. Lisa, that's not what happened. I caught them in bed together. On my birthday. There was a shocked silence. Oh my God. That lying. She's been telling everyone you're having some kind of breakdown. No one believed it, but we didn't know what was really going on. A breakdown? I repeated, incredulous. She's gaslighting me to the entire office? Pretty much. She's saying you've been under a lot of stress lately, that you misinterpreted what you saw. Lisa's voice hardened. What do you need from us? The team has your back. After we hung up, I sat on the edge of the bed, seething. They weren't just betraying me. They were actively trying to gaslight me and damage my reputation. Everything I'd built, my professional standing, my friendships, they were willing to destroy it all to cover their tracks. I opened my laptop and started organizing the evidence into a presentation. A clean, professional slide deck that would leave no room for misinterpretation or denial. As I worked, a voice in the back of my mind asked if I really wanted to go through with this. Was public humiliation the answer? Then my phone pinged with a text from Mike. Your mother called me worried sick. I had to tell her you're having emotional problems. Please come home so we can get you help. That settled it. I finished the presentation and emailed it to myself, then called Diana. I'm ready, I said. Let's do this. What Mike didn't realize was that while he was busy trying to paint me as emotionally unstable, I had accessed not just his personal cloud but his work email too. The confidential client list I now possessed would ensure everyone important in his professional life would witness his humiliation. The day before Mike's presentation, I checked into a different hotel, this one in downtown Hartford, closer to Mike's office. I needed reliable internet and privacy. I ordered room service and set up my laptop, testing the software Diana had provided. Then I called my lawyer. Yes, I already had a lawyer. The morning after discovering the affair, between bouts of crying and rage cleaning my hotel room, I'd made an appointment with Catherine Sullivan, a divorce attorney known for handling high-profile cases. She'd taken me on immediately. Everything's set on the legal front, Catherine confirmed over the phone. The divorce papers will be delivered to your home tomorrow at 11 a.m., right after you do your presentation. I've also drafted cease and desist letters regarding any defamatory statements they've made about your mental health. Thank you, I said, feeling a strange calm. What about the house? You're within your rights to return there anytime. It's jointly owned. But given the situation, it might be best to wait until after tomorrow's events. I don't think I want to live there anymore, I admitted. Too many memories now tainted. We can discuss selling it at our meeting on Friday. In the meantime, I've frozen your joint accounts as discussed. He won't be able to move any money without your consent. After hanging up, I checked my professional email for the first time in days. My inbox was flooded with concerned messages from colleagues. Apparently, Becky had been busy spreading her version of events, that I'd misinterpreted an innocent situation and was now refusing to communicate. Some even suggested I seek counseling for my paranoia. I closed the email without responding. They'd learn the truth soon enough. My phone rang. It was my mother. Jessica, where are you? Michael says you've disappeared. He's worried sick. Mom, I said, fighting to keep my voice steady. Mike is lying to you. I caught him in bed with my friend Becky. On my birthday. There was a long silence. Then, oh baby. I'm so sorry. Her voice hardened. That no good. Wait until your father hears about this. Relief washed over me. At least someone believed me without question. I'm staying at a hotel. I'm safe, I promise. I'm just figuring things out. Do you want me to come? I can be on the next flight. Not yet, I said. There's something I need to do first. I'll call you tomorrow, okay? After we hung up, I received a text from Diana. Package delivered. Everything's set for tomorrow. Are you sure about this? I stared at the message for a long moment. Was I sure? This would change everything, not just for Mike and Becky but for me too. There would be no going back to my old life, my old job, my old social circle. Some people would think I'd gone too far, that I should have handled it privately. Then I remembered the look on Mike's face when I caught them. Not remorse, but annoyance at being discovered. I thought about Becky hugging me at work functions while sleeping with my husband behind my back. I recalled the texts I'd found, where they'd joked about me working late, giving them time together. I found one exchange particularly painful. Becky, do you think she suspects anything? Mike, not a chance. Jessica trusts me completely. Sometimes I feel a little guilty about that. Becky, don't. She's so absorbed in her career, she barely notices you. You deserve someone who pays attention. The irony was crushing. I'd been working hard to support us both, to build a future together. And they'd twisted that into a justification for their betrayal. Yes, I was sure. I pulled up Mike's client presentation on my laptop. Financial projections, market analyses, investment strategies. It was all very professional and polished. Mike had always been good at his job. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., he would begin presenting to 27 executives from Cooper and Braithwaite. At approximately 10:15, I would take control. My phone buzzed again. A text from Becky. Jessica, this has gone on long enough. We're all worried about you. Mike says you haven't been taking your medication. Please let us help you. Medication? I'd never been prescribed any psychiatric medication in my life. My hands shook with rage as I took a screenshot of the text. One more piece of evidence for tomorrow. I called Lisa. Hey, what exactly is Becky saying about me at the office? Lisa hesitated. You really want to know? I need to know. She told HR you've been unstable for months. That you've been forgetting meetings, acting paranoid. She even suggested you might have stopped taking bipolar medication. I've never been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. I nearly shouted. We know, Jessica. Nobody's buying it. But she's got Mike backing her up, and he called your emergency contact, your mother, with the same story. I thanked Lisa and hung up, then immediately called my doctor's office. Hi, this is Anita Schwenk. I need documentation showing all prescriptions I've been issued for the past 2 years. It's urgent. The nurse sounded confused but agreed to email me the information. Within an hour, I had official medical records showing I had only ever been prescribed antibiotics for a sinus infection and an occasional sleep aid for business travel. One more slide for tomorrow's presentation. That night, I barely slept. I kept imagining different scenarios. Mike's face when he realized what was happening, the reactions of his colleagues and clients, the aftermath. Would I regret this? Would the satisfaction of exposing them be worth the chaos that would follow? At 7 a.m., I showered, applied my makeup carefully, and put on my most professional outfit, a navy blue suit I'd worn to my last promotion interview. I ordered breakfast but couldn't eat. Instead, I sipped coffee and reviewed my presentation one last time. At 9:30 a.m., I logged into the software Diana had set up. I could see that Mike's meeting was already active. He was doing a technical check with the IT team at his firm. He looked tired, with dark circles under his eyes, but he was smiling and joking with the tech support guy, acting like everything was normal, like he hadn't destroyed our marriage, and then tried to destroy my reputation too. At 9:58, the participants began joining. Executives in suits, sitting in various offices across the country. I recognized some of them from company functions. By 10:02, everyone was present, and Mike began his introduction. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's quarterly financial review. Before we dive into the numbers, I want to. My heart pounded as I watched him through my screen, finger hovering over the button that would let me take control. In 2 minutes, I would push it. What Mike couldn't see was that I wasn't alone in my hotel room. Diana was with me, ensuring the technical aspects went smoothly, while Catherine had a recorder running to document any potential legal issues arising from what was about to unfold. At exactly 10:15 a.m., I took a deep breath and clicked the button. There was a moment of lag, and then Mike's screen froze. Confusion crossed his face as he tapped his keyboard. Apologies, everyone, he said. It seems we're having some technical. His voice cut off as I took control of the audio. The participants' screens now showed me instead of Mike. "Hello everyone," I said, my voice remarkably calm. "I apologize for the interruption. My name is Anita Schwenk, Mike's wife. Or soon-to-be ex-wife, I should say." I could see Mike in a small window, frantically trying to regain control, his face reddening with panic. "I won't take much of your time, but I felt it was important to share some information about the man you're trusting with your financial futures. Mike values honesty and integrity in business, he always says. Unfortunately, those values don't extend to his personal life." I began my presentation. First slide. Mike and me on our wedding day, smiling hopeful. 5 years ago, I married a man I believed was honest and faithful. Next slide. Screenshots of text messages between Mike and Becky, dating back 8 months. Messages arranging meetings while I was working late. Messages joking about how clueless I was. For the past 8 months, Mike has been having an affair with my colleague and friend, Rebecca Wilson. Next slide. Bank statements highlighting charges for hotels, restaurants, and gifts that had never come my way. He used our joint funds to finance this affair. Next slide. The photo I'd taken of them in our bedroom on my birthday, looking disheveled and shocked. 3 days ago, on my 32nd birthday, I came home early to surprise my husband. Instead, I found him in our bed with Rebecca. I noticed several participants widening their eyes or covering their mouths in shock. One older executive removed his glasses and pinched the bridge of his nose. Next slide. Screenshots of texts from both of them claiming I was mentally unstable, needed medication, was having a breakdown. When caught, instead of showing remorse, Mike and Rebecca chose to spread rumors about my mental health, attempting to discredit me professionally and personally. Next slide. My medical records showing no history of psychiatric prescriptions. Despite their claims, I have no history of mental illness or medication. These are official medical records. Final slide. Screenshots of Mike's texts to Becky about my career. While I supported Mike's career ambitions for years, often at the expense of my own, he was undermining me behind my back. Throughout my presentation, the Zoom chat had exploded with messages between the participants. Mike was still trying desperately to shut down the meeting, his face now ashen. I'm sharing this with you not just for personal vindication, but because I believe character matters in business as well as in life. If Mike could lie so convincingly to someone who shared his home and his name for 5 years, what else might he be willing to misrepresent? I paused, looking directly into the camera. Thank you for your time. I've emailed each of you documentation verifying everything I've shown today. Mike, divorce papers are being delivered to our home as we speak. Oh, and Becky, you're copied on the cease and desist letter regarding your defamatory statements about my mental health. I'll see you both in court. I ended the transmission, returning control to Mike's computer. For a moment, I could see his stunned face staring back at the participants before I closed my laptop. Diana whistled low. That was intense. Catherine nodded, stopping her recorder. Perfectly executed, actually. You stated only verifiable facts, made no threats, and kept it professional. If they try to sue for defamation, they won't have a case. I sat back in my chair, expecting to feel triumphant. Instead, I felt empty. The adrenaline that had carried me through the past few days suddenly drained away, leaving me exhausted. My phone immediately began ringing. Mike, of course. I declined the call. Then Becky. Declined. Then Mike's boss. Interesting. I let that one go to voicemail. What now? Diana asked, packing up her equipment. Now I start over, I said quietly. Catherine squeezed my shoulder. The papers are being delivered as we speak. I've already filed for an emergency hearing regarding temporary possession of the house. Given the circumstances, the judge is likely to rule in your favor. My phone pinged with a text from Lisa. OMG Jessica, the whole office is talking about what just happened. Becky just got called into HR. Are you okay? Then another ping, an email notification. Subject line. Position available, Marketing Director, Westport Creative. It was from James Chun, my old college classmate who'd been trying to recruit me for years. I'd always declined, not wanting to commute farther from home from Mike. Maybe it was time to reconsider. I think I'm going to be okay, I told Diana and Catherine. Eventually. As they left, promising to check in later, my phone rang again. This time, it was Cooper and Braithwaite CEO, Eleanor Cooper herself. I hesitated, then answered. Mrs. Schwenk, this is Eleanor Cooper. I believe we met at last year's charity gala. Yes, Ms. Cooper. I remember. And it's Ms. Chen now, or it will be soon. Understandable. Her voice was crisp, businesslike. I won't pretend to be happy about how our meeting was disrupted today. However, the information you shared is concerning, especially the attempts to discredit you by falsely claiming mental health issues. I waited, unsure where this was going. We value integrity at Cooper and Braithwaite. We'll be reviewing our relationship with Mr. Schwenk and his firm. In the meantime, I understand you work in digital marketing. We've been looking to refresh our approach in that area. Would you be interested in discussing potential consulting opportunities? I blinked, surprised. Yes, I would. Excellent. My assistant will contact you to arrange a meeting. And Ms. Chen? For what it's worth, I admire your composure under difficult circumstances. After we hung up, I sat in stunned silence. Then I began to laugh, slightly hysterical laughter that turned into tears, then back to laughter again. My phone continued to buzz with messages and calls, but I ignored them all. Instead, I opened my laptop again and began drafting a resignation letter to TechVision. It was time for a fresh start. As I typed, a text came in from a number I didn't recognize. This is Thomas Briggs from Cooper and Braithwaite. Just wanted to say your husband's a fool, and you're a force to be reckoned with. We should talk about your approach to digital strategy sometime. I saved his number. Networking opportunities were already arising from the ashes of my marriage. Outside my hotel window, the city bustled with afternoon activity, people going about their normal lives, unaware that mine had just been completely transformed. I ordered a glass of champagne from room service. I was going to toast to my new beginning. What Mike and Becky couldn't have anticipated was that their betrayal would not destroy me but launch me into a new chapter. One where I had not only my freedom but unexpected professional opportunities, and a newfound sense of my own strength. 1 month later, I sat in my new corner office at Westport Creative, looking out over the harbor. James had not only hired me as marketing director, but had given me free rein to build my team from scratch. My first hire? Diana, who jumped at the chance to leave TechVision for a senior IT role. My phone buzzed with a text from Catherine. Judge signed final decree. House is yours to sell, assets divided per agreement. It's officially over. I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The divorce had been finalized in record time, largely because Mike hadn't contested anything after my Zoom presentation went viral within his industry. Yes, viral. Apparently, someone in the meeting had recorded my segment and shared it. Within days, it had circulated among financial firms across the East Coast. Mike had been asked to take a leave of absence from his position. Cooper and Braithwaite had withdrawn their business entirely. The last I'd heard, he was staying with his brother in Philadelphia, trying to rebuild his career from scratch. As for Becky, she'd been terminated from TechVision after an HR investigation revealed she'd been using company time and resources to conduct her affair with Mike. The cease and desist letter regarding her defamatory statements had been enough to silence her completely. She'd moved back to her hometown in Ohio, according to mutual acquaintances. I pulled up my email to find a message from another former colleague. You won't believe this. Becky applied for a job at Meridian Marketing. They called TechVision for a reference and got an earful. Word is spreading about what she did. Karma, it seemed, was working overtime. My phone rang. It was my mother. The movers just left with the last boxes, she reported. Your father and I double-checked every closet and cabinet. The house is empty. Thanks, Mom. I don't know what I would have done without you these past weeks. That's what family is for, honey. Now, are you sure you don't want to keep any of the furniture? That dining set was expensive. I'm sure, I said firmly. I want a completely fresh start. New home, new job, new furnishings. Nothing that reminds me of him. The house had sold quickly, well above asking price in the hot real estate market. I'd used my share to put a down payment on a waterfront condo closer to my new office. It was smaller but filled with light, with a balcony where I could drink my morning coffee watching the sunrise over the water. Well, the realtor says the new owners are thrilled. Young couple, expecting their first baby. They're excited about the nursery space. I felt a twinge at that. Mike and I had designated that room as a future nursery too. But the feeling passed quickly. I was only 32. There was still time for me to have children, if I decided that's what I wanted. And next time, I'd choose a partner worthy of being their father. After hanging up with my mother, I checked my email. 2 new client proposals needed review, and James had forwarded an invitation to speak at a digital marketing conference in New York next month. My career was flourishing in ways it never could have if I'd stayed in my old life, always putting Mike's ambitions first. I'd also received a formal offer from Cooper and Braithwaite to handle their digital marketing strategy as an outside consultant. Eleanor Cooper had been impressed by my initial proposal, particularly my ideas for reaching younger investors through targeted social media campaigns. A knock at my door interrupted my thoughts. Lisa stood there with a small gift bag. "Office-warming present," she said with a smile, placing it on my desk. She'd left TechVision too, accepting my offer to join Westport Creative as a content strategist. And also, a thank you for inspiring me to stand up for myself. I finally broke up with Rick. Rick, her on-again, off-again boyfriend who'd been stringing her along for years, always promising to commit but never following through. "Good for you," I said, opening the gift bag to find a beautiful journal with new beginnings, embossed on the cover. "I thought you could use it to document this chapter of your life," Lisa explained. "The Jessica Chun Comeback Tour." I laughed. I liked that title. After Lisa left, I opened the journal and wrote on the first page. "The day my husband betrayed me wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of a better one." My phone pinged with a calendar reminder. Dinner with James and the executive team to celebrate our new partnership with Cooper and Braithwaite. Eleanor Cooper had been true to her word about consulting opportunities, which had quickly expanded into a full agency contract. As I gathered my things to leave, my office phone rang. The receptionist's voice came through. "Miss Chun? There's a Michael Schwenk here to see you. No appointment. Should I send him away?" I froze, my heart suddenly pounding. Mike was here? After all this time? For a moment, I considered refusing to see him. What could he possibly say that would matter now? But curiosity won out. "I'll come down," I told the receptionist. Mike was standing awkwardly in the reception area, looking thinner than I remembered, his usually immaculate appearance slightly rumpled. When he saw me, something like hope flashed across his face. "Jessica," he said, taking a step forward. I stopped, maintaining distance between us. "What do you want, Mike?" I just wanted to talk. To apologize in person." He glanced around at the sleek office space. "You're doing well, I see." "Yes, I am," I said simply. "Listen, I know I messed up. Badly. But I've been in therapy, working on myself, and I realized." I held up a hand, stopping him. "Mike, whatever revelations you've had are your business now, not mine. We're divorced. It's done." "But what you did," he protested, his voice lowering. "That Zoom meeting destroyed my career, my reputation. Was that really necessary?" I looked at him incredulously. "What you and Becky did, the affair, the lies, trying to make me look unstable, that wasn't necessary either. Actions have consequences. You're experiencing yours." "I've lost everything," he said, a note of self-pity creeping into his voice. "My firm put me on indefinite leave. No one will take my calls. I had to move in with my brother." "So did I replied evenly. "So did I lose everything. The difference is I built something better from the ruins. You can too if you choose to. That's up to you." His expression hardened. "You didn't have to be so vindictive. And you didn't have to sleep with my friend for 8 months. You didn't have to use our joint money to buy her gifts. You didn't have to tell people I was mentally ill when I caught you." I kept my voice level. "But here we are." I checked my watch. "I have a dinner meeting. Goodbye, Mike." As I walked past him toward the elevator, he called after me. "Are you ever going to forgive me?" I paused, considering the question. I already have, I said, surprising myself with the truth of it. Forgiving you was necessary for me to move on. But forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation or forgetting. It just means I'm not carrying the anger anymore. It's too heavy, and I've got better things to do. The elevator doors opened, and I stepped inside, leaving Mike and my old life behind me once and for all. That night at dinner, surrounded by my new colleagues and clients, I found myself laughing genuinely for the first time in months. As James raised a toast to our partnership with Cooper and Braithwaite, Eleanor Cooper leaned over to me. I've been meaning to ask, how did you manage to hack into your ex-husband's Zoom meeting? That took some technical skill. I smiled. I had help from a very talented friend. Sometimes the people who believe in you make all the difference. Eleanor nodded. Well, I'm glad you're on our team now, not against us. Later that night, in my new condo, I stood on the balcony watching the lights reflect on the harbor water. The pain hadn't disappeared completely. Betrayal leaves scars that take time to fade. But for the first time since that fateful birthday, I felt genuinely hopeful about the future. My phone pinged with a text from Diana. Boss lady, wait until you see the website mock-ups I finished. Going to blow the client away tomorrow. I smiled, typing back. Can't wait. And Diana? Thank you. For everything. I set my phone down and took a deep breath of the cool night air. The woman who had walked in on her husband's betrayal 1 month ago was gone. In her place stood someone stronger, wiser, and free. The next morning, I woke to an email that made me pause. It was from Becky. Jessica, I know you probably hate me, and you have every right to. What I did was unforgivable. I'm not asking for forgiveness, just letting you know I'm truly sorry. I'm in therapy now, trying to understand why I would hurt someone who was always good to me. I've moved back to Ohio, starting over. I wish you all the happiness you deserve. I didn't respond. Maybe someday I would, but not yet. Her apology didn't change anything, but it was at least acknowledgement of the harm she'd caused. That same day, I received a call from a producer at a popular podcast about women in business. We'd love to have you on to discuss digital marketing trends, she explained. And if you're comfortable, perhaps touch on how you handled adversity and rebuilt your career after personal challenges. I agreed to the interview. If my story could help even one woman find the strength to value herself, to refuse to be gaslighted or diminished, it would be worth sharing. 6 months later, my team at Westport Creative had doubled in size. We'd landed 3 major clients, including Cooper and Braithwaite, and my innovative social media campaign had gone viral in the financial industry. The speaking engagement in New York had led to others, establishing me as a thought leader in digital marketing strategy. I'd started dating again cautiously. Nothing serious yet, but I was open to the possibility. My new life wasn't perfect. I still had moments of doubt and pain, but it was authentic and mine. One evening, as I was leaving the office, I received a LinkedIn notification. Mike had endorsed my marketing skills. A strange peace offering, perhaps. I didn't respond, but I didn't feel angry either. He was part of my past, not my future. The following week, I was invited to speak at my alma mater about careers in digital marketing. Standing at the podium, looking out at the eager faces of students about to enter the professional world, I decided to end my talk differently than planned. Success isn't just about strategy and skills, I told them. It's about resilience, about knowing your worth, about refusing to let someone else's choices define you. Sometimes life delivers devastating blows. The question isn't whether you'll get knocked down, you will. The question is whether you'll get back up, stronger and wiser than before. A young woman raised her hand. How do you know when to fight back and when to walk away? I thought about it. Trust your instincts. Stand up for yourself when your dignity is at stake. Walk away when staying would cost you your self-respect. And remember, sometimes the most painful endings lead to the most beautiful beginnings. What began as the worst day of my life turned out to be the catalyst for the best version of myself. A woman who wouldn't settle for lies, who valued her worth, and who had discovered that sometimes the most painful endings lead to the most beautiful beginnings.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.